My name is Harper Sinclair, and I'm standing in the bathroom of Riverside Gardens Event Hall, staring at my reflection. A dark purple bruise spreads across my collarbone, partially hidden by the collar of my dress. I'd tried covering it with makeup, but under these bright lights, it's obvious. My hands shake as I adjust the fabric one more time. Tonight is my father's 60th birthday party. The whole family is here. I take a breath and walk back into the main room. The space is elegant, filled with white linens and soft lighting. About 40 guests mill around, laughing, drinking champagne. I spot my father near the center, his arm around my stepmother Victoria's waist. My two stepsisters, Kendall and Brooke, stand nearby in matching designer dresses. I make my way toward them, trying to blend in. "Harper!" My father's voice booms across the room. Every head turns. There she is. "Come here, sweetheart." I walk over, forcing a smile. Victoria's eyes immediately lock onto my collarbone. Her perfectly painted lips curve into something that isn't quite a smile. "Oh my God," Kendall says loudly. "Harper, what happened to your neck?" The conversations around us die down. People are staring. I tripped at work," I say quietly. "It's nothing." "Tripped?" Victoria laughs, the sound sharp. "Honey, you need to be more careful. You've always been so clumsy, just like—" She stops herself. But everyone knows what she was about to say. "Just like your mother." My mother died in a car accident when I was 9. Victoria married my father 6 months later. Kendall giggles. "Remember when she fell down the stairs in high school? Dad had to tell the school she was fine. Or when she burned her hand on the stove last year," Brooke adds. "How do you even do that?" My father says nothing. He never does. He just looks uncomfortable and takes a sip of his drink. "It's fine," I repeat, my voice barely audible. "I'm fine." "Of course you are," Victoria says, patting my arm in a way that makes my skin crawl. "You're always fine, aren't you?" I excuse myself and head toward the bathroom again, my chest tight. I can hear them laughing behind me. I've lived with this for 20 years. 20 years of accidents. 20 years of being told I'm clumsy, fragile, dramatic. 20 years of watching my father choose her over me. Every single time. But tonight is different. Tonight, everything changes. I met Victoria when I was 9 years old, 3 months after my mother's funeral. She was beautiful, charming, and my father seemed happy for the first time in weeks. I wanted to like her. I tried so hard to like her. The first incident happened 2 months after they got married. I was 10. I'd come home from school and found Victoria in my room, going through my things. When I asked what she was doing, she smiled and said she was just cleaning. But my mother's jewelry box was open on the bed, and one of the necklaces my mom always wore was missing. When I told my father, he said I must have misplaced it. Victoria looked so hurt that I'd accused her. I apologized. The necklace never turned up. The second incident was when I was 12. I woke up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom and heard voices downstairs. Victoria was on the phone with someone. Laughing, I heard her say, "The life insurance money was perfect timing." Robert had no idea how much his first wife was actually worth. I stood frozen on the stairs. "And the kid?" The person on the other end must have asked, because Victoria's laugh got colder. "She'll never know. Robert keeps all those documents locked up. By the time she's 18, there'll be nothing left to find." I ran back to my room and didn't sleep the rest of the night. When I tried to ask my father about my mother's life insurance the next day, he told me not to worry about adult matters and changed the subject. The accident started when I was 14. I'd come home with bruises, burns, cuts. Victoria was always nearby when they happened. A push at the top of the stairs, a pot of boiling water that slipped, a car door that closed on my hand. "You really need to be more careful, Harper," she'd say, always with witnesses around. "You're so accident-prone." My father believed her. Everyone believed her. I was the clumsy kid who couldn't get through a week without hurting herself. By the time I was 16, I'd learned to just accept it. This was my life. I had nowhere else to go. My mother's family lived across the country, and we'd lost touch after she died. My father's parents had passed when I was little. It was just me, Dad, Victoria, and my stepsisters. I graduated high school, went to community college because Victoria convinced my father that I wasn't ready for a university, got my nursing degree, started working at County General Hospital. I was 22 when I tried to move out. I'd saved up enough for a security deposit on a small apartment. I told my father at dinner one night. Victoria's fork clattered against her plate. Move out? Harper, that's ridiculous. Why would you move out? I just think it's time, I said. I'm working full-time now. I can afford it. Afford it? Victoria's eyes narrowed. With what money? The money your father's been giving you for rent? The money he's been putting toward your car payment? I hadn't been asking for money. I paid for everything myself. Victoria, I don't think... My father started. Robert, we need to tell her. Victoria turned to me, her expression suddenly sad. Harper, sweetie, we didn't want you to find out this way, but there's been an issue with your mother's estate. My blood ran cold. What issue? The money your mother left you. There was some mismanagement, legal issues. We've been trying to sort it out for years, but there's going to be an investigation. What are you talking about? Victoria reached across the table and took my hand. Her grip was tight. If you move out now, if you make any big changes, it's going to look like you're trying to hide something, like you're running from the investigation. I'm not. I know, honey, but that's not how it'll look. The lawyers said it would be best if you stayed here, kept everything normal, until this is resolved. My father nodded slowly. She's right, Harper. I don't want you getting in trouble. How long? I whispered. Victoria squeezed my hand harder. Just a few years. Maybe 3 or 4. Then you'll be free to do whatever you want. I never saw any legal documents, never met any lawyers. But I was terrified. What if she was telling the truth? What if I left and got arrested for something I didn't do? So I stayed. 3 years turned into 4. 4 turned into 6. I kept working at the hospital, kept living in my childhood bedroom, kept enduring the accidents and the comments and the control. And then something changed. I was 27 when I met Sarah Chen. She came into the hospital one night, an older woman in her 60s, sharp-eyed and elegant despite the broken wrist. I was her nurse during her overnight stay. We talked while I checked her vitals. She was a lawyer, recently semi-retired. We discovered we'd both grown up in the same neighborhood. What was your mother's name? She asked at one point. Harper Sinclair, I said. She died when I was 9. Sarah went very still. Harper Sinclair. Brown hair? Worked at the library? Yes. Did you know her? I did. Sarah's expression changed. Harper, I need to tell you something. Your mother and I were friends. Good friends. And before she died, she came to me with her will and some other documents. She asked me to keep copies, just in case. My heart started pounding. Just in case of what? She was worried about something. She wouldn't tell me everything, but she made me promise that if anything ever happened to her, I'd make sure you got what was rightfully yours when you turned 18. I never got anything. Victoria said there were legal issues. Sarah's jaw tightened. There are no legal issues. I've been trying to reach you for years, but every letter I sent came back. Every phone call to your house went unanswered. Because Victoria screened everything. She always checked the mail first. She always answered the home phone. What did my mother leave me? I asked. A life insurance policy worth $300,000 and a safety deposit box with more documents inside. $300,000. Money that could have paid for college, for an apartment, for my freedom. Money that Victoria had stolen. Sarah squeezed my good hand. I still have copies of everything, and I know a forensic accountant who can trace where that money went. But Harper, if we're going to do this, we need to be smart. We need to build a case so ironclad that she can't talk her way out of it. How long will that take? A few years. Maybe 3. Can you wait that long? I thought about the last 18 years, the bruises, the lies, the control. 3 more years seemed impossible. But 3 more years to make sure Victoria paid for everything? I could do that. Tell me what I need to do, I said. For the next 3 years, I became someone else. On the surface, I was still the same Harper. Quiet, obedient, accident-prone. But underneath, I was building a case. Sarah taught me how to document everything. I bought a tiny recording device and hid it in my bedroom. I started taking photos of every bruise, every injury, with timestamps and locations. I kept a journal with detailed accounts of every incident, every threatening comment, every moment of control. The recordings were the most damaging. Victoria was careful in public, but in private, she was a different person. I captured her bragging to Kendall about how easy it was to manipulate my father. I captured her talking about the insurance money, how she'd forged my signature on documents, how she'd paid off a bank employee to help transfer the funds. I captured her admitting to causing my accidents. "She's so weak," Victoria's voice said on one recording. "All I have to do is push a little, and she falls apart." Robert feels so sorry for her that he never questions anything I say. Every recording, every photo, every document went to Sarah. She worked with her forensic accountant friend, a man named Marcus, to trace the money. They found accounts in Victoria's name, transfers that happened right after my mother died, forged signatures on withdrawal slips. "We've got her," Sarah told me 6 months ago. "We have everything we need." "When do we move?" I asked. Sarah smiled. "We wait for the perfect moment. When there are witnesses. When she can't run or hide or talk her way out." "My father's 60th birthday party is in 6 months," I said. "The whole family will be there. All her friends. Everyone who's ever believed her lies. Perfect." So here I am, in the bathroom of Riverside Gardens event hall, with a bruise on my collarbone that Victoria caused 3 days ago. She'd pushed me into the kitchen counter during an argument, then loudly told my father I'd tripped over my own feet. He believed her. He always believes her. But tonight, that changes. I walk back into the main room. The party is in full swing now. My father is giving a speech, thanking everyone for coming. Victoria stands beside him, glowing with pride. I spot Sarah near the back of the room. She's wearing a navy dress, looking distinguished and calm. She gives me a small nod. It's time. My father finishes his speech to applause. Victoria leans into the microphone. "Before we cut the cake, I want to say something." Her voice is warm, maternal. "Robert and I have been so blessed to have our family together. Our girls, Kendall, Brooke, and Harper, mean everything to us." She looks directly at me. "Harper, honey, come up here." Every muscle in my body tenses, but I walk forward. The crowd parts for me. "Harper has had such a hard time lately," Victoria continues, her hand on my shoulder. "Everyone can see the bruise now. So many accidents. We worry about her constantly." There's sympathetic murmuring from the guests. "In fact," Victoria says, her grip tightening on my shoulder, "we've been talking about maybe getting her some help. Therapy, perhaps. For her clumsiness. She's trying to paint me as mentally unstable. Right here, right now. In front of everyone. If I speak up, I'll look defensive. Unhinged. It's a perfect trap." My father looks uncomfortable but says nothing. "Actually," I say, my voice steady despite my racing heart, "I'd like to say something." Victoria's smile freezes. "Sweetheart, maybe now isn't." "I've been clumsy my whole life," I continue, speaking to the crowd. "At least, that's what everyone's been told. Trip down the stairs. Burn my hand on the stove. Walk into doors. So many accidents." I can feel Victoria's nails digging into my shoulder. "But I've been thinking lately about those accidents. About how they always happened when Victoria was nearby. About how she was always the first person to explain what happened." "Harper." My father's voice is sharp. "That's enough." "Is it?" I turn to look at him. "Dad, when was the last time you actually saw me have an accident? Not heard about it afterward, but actually saw it happen?" He opens his mouth, then closes it. "I'll tell you when," I say. "Never. Because they're not accidents." The room has gone completely silent. Victoria's laugh is brittle. "Harper, honey, you're upset. Let's talk about this privately." "No." I step away from her hand. "I'm done talking privately. I'm done pretending. I'm done letting you control the narrative." I pull out my phone. Sarah has already connected it to the venue's sound system. "What are you doing?" Victoria's voice has lost its warmth. Telling the truth. I press play. Victoria's voice fills the room, clear and unmistakable. The life insurance money was perfect timing. Robert had no idea how much his first wife was actually worth. My father's face goes white. The recording continues. She'll never know. Robert keeps all those documents locked up. By the time she's 18, there'll be nothing left to find. I press pause. This was recorded when I was 12 years old. I heard you on the phone late at night. That's taken out of context, Victoria stammers. I was talking about, want to hear more? I don't wait for an answer. I play another clip. She's so weak. All I have to do is push a little, and she falls apart. Robert feels so sorry for her that he never questions anything I say. Kendall's voice. Mom, aren't you worried she'll figure it out? Victoria. Please. She's terrified of her own shadow. And even if she did, who would believe her? I stop the recording. The room is frozen. My father is staring at Victoria like he's never seen her before. Dad, I say quietly. She's been stealing from me for 20 years. Money that Mom left me. $300,000. That's a lie. Victoria's composure is cracking. Robert, she's making this up. She's been unstable. No, a voice says from the back of the room. Sarah walks forward, Marcus beside her. She's carrying a briefcase. My name is Sarah Chen. I was Harper Sinclair's attorney and friend. I have copies of her will, her life insurance policy, and documentation of every transfer of funds from Harper's accounts into Victoria's name. She opens the briefcase and pulls out a thick folder. I also have bank records showing forged signatures, testimony from a bank employee who was paid to facilitate the fraud, and 3 years' worth of recorded conversations in which Victoria admits to financial exploitation and abuse. Marcus steps forward. I'm Marcus Webb, forensic accountant. I've traced every dollar of Harper Sinclair's life insurance payout. It went into accounts controlled solely by Victoria Hayes, with no legal authority to access those funds. The silence is deafening. My father looks at Victoria. Tell me this isn't true. Victoria's mask finally slips. Robert, you don't understand. After Catherine died, you were a mess. We had bills, expenses. That wasn't your money. His voice is shaking. That was for Harper. For her future. Our future. Victoria's voice rises. I've given you 20 years, Robert. I've raised your daughter. You've abused her. The words burst out of him. My God, Victoria. All those accidents. You hurt her. You've been hurting her this whole time, and His voice breaks. I didn't protect her. He turns to me, and I see tears in his eyes. Harper, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I want to accept it. Part of me wants to hug him and say it's okay, but it's not okay. You chose her, I say quietly. Every time I needed you. Every time I tried to tell you something was wrong, you chose her. I know. He's crying now, this strong man who never showed emotion. I know, and I'll never forgive myself. Victoria makes a sound like a trapped animal. She turns to leave, but 2 police officers are standing by the door. Sarah must have called them before the party. Victoria Hayes, one of them says. We need you to come with us. For what? This is ridiculous. For fraud, forgery, and suspicion of assault, the officer says. We've reviewed the evidence provided by Miss Chen's office. They read her rights as they escort her out. She's screaming now, all pretense of civility gone. Kendall and Brooke follow, crying, trying to protest. And just like that, it's over. The party dissolves. Guests leave quietly, awkwardly. My father sits at one of the tables, his head in his hands. Sarah touches my arm. You did it. I couldn't have without you, I say. If you hadn't kept those documents, if you hadn't helped me, your mother would be proud, she says softly. She knew something was wrong. She tried to protect you the only way she could. That night, I drive to Sarah's office. She has something else to show me. It's a video file, dated 2 months before my mother died. She recorded this and gave it to me, Sarah explains. She said if anything ever happened to her, you should see it on your 18th birthday. But by then, I couldn't reach you. She presses play. My mother's face fills the screen. She looks tired but determined. "Hi, baby girl," she says. "If you're watching this, it means I'm gone, and you're 18 now. I hope I'm wrong about everything I'm about to say. I hope you've had a wonderful childhood, and that your father has been happy." She takes a breath. "But if I'm right, if the woman I think he's going to marry is who I think she is. Harper, you need to know that I see you. I see how strong you are, how kind. Whatever she does, whatever she tells you, remember that you are loved. You are worth protecting, and I've made sure that even if I'm not there, you'll have what you need to be free." Tears stream down my face. "The money I'm leaving you isn't just money," Mom continues. "It's your escape. It's your education. It's your chance to build a life away from anyone who tries to control you. Don't let anyone take that from you." She smiles. And it's so achingly familiar. "You're going to be okay, Harper. You're going to be more than okay. You're going to be amazing. I love you, sweetheart. I always will." The video ends. I sit there in Sarah's office and cry for the mother I lost, for the girl I was, for all the years I spent trapped. But I also cry because I'm free now. Finally, completely free. The legal process takes 6 months. Victoria pleads guilty to fraud and multiple counts of assault. She gets 5 years in prison. Kendall and Brooke face charges for their complicity but receive lighter sentences, community service, and probation. The judge makes it clear that their cooperation and lesser involvement are the only reasons they avoid jail time. I get my mother's money back, plus interest. It's more than enough to start over. My father tries to rebuild our relationship. He apologizes constantly, offers to pay for therapy, begs for a chance to make things right. I tell him I need time. Maybe someday we can have a relationship again. But it will never be what it was. I need space to heal, to figure out who I am without fear. He accepts this, though I can see it breaks his heart. I move into my own apartment. It's small but mine. I transfer to a hospital in a different part of the city, somewhere with no memories of Victoria. Sarah becomes like family. She takes me to dinner once a week, introduces me to other people who've survived abuse, helps me understand that what happened wasn't my fault. 1 year after the party, I'm sitting in my apartment when I get a call from the hospital. They're starting a program to help train staff in recognizing signs of domestic abuse and medical fraud. They want me to help develop it. "You've been through it," the director says. "You understand both sides. We need someone like you." I accept. 2 years after the party, I'm running support groups for abuse survivors. I share my story. I tell them about the recording device, the documentation, the patient wait for the right moment. I tell them it's never too late to take control back. 3 years after the party, I meet someone. His name is Daniel. He's kind, patient, understanding. When I tell him my history, he doesn't run. He asks what I need to feel safe. And he listens to my answer. We take things slow. 5 years after the party, my father calls. He's in therapy now. He's sold the house where Victoria lived, donated most of the money to organizations that help abuse victims. He's trying, really trying, to be better. "I know I can't undo what happened," he says, "but I want you to know that I see it now. I see how I failed you, and I'm spending the rest of my life trying to make up for it." We start having coffee once a month. It's awkward at first, but slowly, something new begins to grow. Not the relationship we had before. Something different. More honest. I'll never forget what happened. I'll never pretend those 20 years didn't shape me. Didn't leave scars that I'll carry forever. But I'm not defined by them anymore. I'm Harper Sinclair. I survived. I fought back. I won. And now I help others do the same. Sometimes people ask me why I waited so long. Why didn't I go to the police sooner? Why didn't I just leave? I tell them the truth. Because I needed evidence. Because I needed to be believed. Because when you're trapped in abuse, especially from someone everyone loves, someone who seems perfect on the outside, you learn that the truth isn't enough. You need proof. I tell them I don't regret the time it took. Those 3 years of preparation, of carefully documenting everything, meant that when I finally spoke up, no one could dismiss me. No one could call me dramatic or confused or mistaken. Victoria couldn't charm her way out. My father couldn't minimize it. The system couldn't ignore it. That's the lesson I share now. Be patient. Be smart. Be thorough. And when the moment comes, when you have everything you need, don't hesitate. Tell your truth so loudly that no one can pretend not to hear it. That's what I did at my father's 60th birthday party. In front of everyone who'd watched me suffer and said nothing. In front of the woman who hurt me and the man who let her. I told the truth. And it set me free.